what's up, friends? The Super Sucklord here. Thanks for joining me. I know you've been following me for many, many years through all the various adventures, creativity, action, and action figures that you've seen from me, but now I'm inviting you in to join me for a brand new enterprise. I haven't done anything quite this formal in a while. So what this program is essentially about, I've spent the last several months doing a lot of internal work, developing my space, working on my character, going to therapy, etc., 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 creating an atmosphere that was conducive to my creative ambitions. And we're now going from a very inwardly focused, developmental, space-based process into now opening it up to the world. Not only taking this enterprise and this energy out into the world, but actually letting the world in. Oh, well, who can that be? Well, if it isn't LAMOUR SUPREME. LAMOUR SUPREME. Come on in, buddy. Not much. We're working on a new TV show.
Nice.
So I'm glad you stopped by.
Great. It's amazing. Different space, different vibe.
Different vibe, different energy. Now, the idea being here is like I'm starting a new enterprise and I'm reaching way back into the OG annals of my friends, artists, to help me create this new world. Now, we've known each other for quite a long time, you and I.
Yeah.
You were one of the first guys I ever met when I was getting into this little designer toy world scene, the Mishka era, and we were neighbors for a really long time.
Yeah.
And
what a journey.
And now I'm in the process of building a new world, and I'm recruiting all of my talented friends to come and add a little piece to it. Because what I'm trying to do is envision a world for myself. I'm trying to create a reality and then enter into it. And being an action figure guy and a toy guy, and I understand very much the power of totems, representations, and miniatures as a way to bring about.
It's gonna be like the little town in Beetlejuice?
No, this is gonna be like the little city in Mr. Rogers. Or do you remember in Clash of the Titans when Zeus had that big like model arena and had all the little figures?
It was Harryhausen.
Yeah, and when Perseus was all fucked up and laying on the ground, and when none of the other gods were looking, he went and stood the guy up. So this is basically what I'm doing. I'm trying to create here like a model city that's gonna represent, you know, it's going to represent...
The city looks like it's coming from a giant earthquake.
The goal here isn't necessarily to make a model city that looks like the city as it is, but more like a representation of the city as I want it to be.
Right.
So I'm basically trying to use this little model situation to create the space and then enter into it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like the Buddha envisions a new world and then enters into it. So I'm going to use this little model city as a way for me to sort of
focus.
Yeah, and to project and
imaginative play.
Right, and create sort of like an aspirational version of New York City. And what I want to do, at least today, it's gonna take some doing to get this whole thing set up to like look like something where you can actually shoot within the city. So I just want to have, you know, people like you.
Where am I gonna live?
Well, we're gonna still determine that, but today we're gonna focus.
How much is real estate in this little city?
It's pretty fucking expensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it like New York expensive?
This is New York, but I mean, this is a fantasy version of New York, so we don't have to pay anything to live here. What I'm thinking of is just like, I'm just gonna build it up, like building by building. This I was gonna use to be the headquarters of the Sucklord. This is the Play School Rescue Center that I've had since probably 1973.
This is definitely the headquarters, Sucklord.
Right, exactly. And then
you got a helipad, bro.
Yep, and then these are going to be some of the other buildings here, and I think I'm going to take this apart. What I would really like for you to do today is if you can help me start to customize this stuff. I want to fill in like all these spaces with like familiar places, and I want to sort of isolate this panel and maybe have you turn this side of the building, like working with the images that are already on here, and maybe make this like a Mishka store or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to maybe redo the faces on these characters here, look like your guys. Does that sound cool?
Yeah, because I was going to say, how much for rent above Hooper's store?
For you, nothing.
That's where I'm living.
Now I'm
Welcome to the Hooper store.
it's just so weird that this shit has been sitting around for like fucking 50 years. I'm not like a nostalgia guy. I don't want to just preserve it and keep it in mint condition. It's been well played with already, and I figured it's like, for me, it's kind of meaningful that like I'm actually using toys that I had as a kid.
Does that mean that I have to customize the whole inside of this too?
Not today. Just
yeah, but this is my apartment now.
I guess so. It depends on
So I gotta like hook it up.
You're gonna see if you earn the rent here by like doing the nice wall on the outside. If you want to go through those pens and paints over there, this is what I'm trying to create for myself here, because the city outside is like, it's changing so fast, and I know it's gonna get to a point where I'm not quite feeling it so much.
Gentrified my fucking building. Grew up here, you understand what gentrification means.
I mean, I think there is a degree of also understanding what part you as an individual play.
Exactly.
Right now, we're in the artist phase. You know, the standard sort of like process of how a neighborhood gets gentrified is like, first it's just like sort of old school residents and people that have been there for a long time. You know, it's an economically, underdeveloped area, and the artists move in, because they get cheap rent and they can get loft spaces and storefronts they don't have to spend a lot of money for, and then they make the neighborhood quote unquote cool. And then suddenly the little stores, the little boutiques start opening up, celebrities and brands get into it, and then suddenly it becomes a thing. I mean, you've been seeing it happen on fucking Canal Street the last fucking 10 years.
Yeah, that people, that's the shit that you need to focus and pay attention to right now, because that is literally the dinosaurs of our neighborhood.
Right.
Right?
Well, this is that weird moment, in any sort of gentrification process where like the newcomers and the people that have been here sort of live in this sort of symbiotic balance, and like it sort of creates its own little unique ecosystem.
Isn't it wonderful? This city is like a city within a city within a city within a city within a city.
I know, but then it always gets whack.
When?
For example, when I first started hanging out in this neighborhood back in the late 90s, and A-Life opened up right by Orchard and Houston, and that was just all clothing stores, those.
So you're saying it got whacked because you moved here?
No, got whacked, so I can't go there anymore. I'm saying like that was the block. There was at the time when North Orchard Street was like sort of the center, the sort of downtown hipster crowd, and then it became overdeveloped, and all the artists and creative types kept moving further down here, and you go up there and it's just like Five Guys hamburgers and big luxury hotels, and it has no fucking character anymore.
You know the way I see this? This is literally like the rebellion in Star Wars.
Go on.
They were, the prequel. What are we?
I hope we're not the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
No, we're the original trilogy.
Yeah, original trilogy.
Yeah. So like that, and of course, the middle trilogy is the best one.
But you have to keep the torch burning. If you're complaining that this shit sucks, you suck.
I'm not complaining. It's
no,
just
I'm not
I'm
saying
observing
you. I'm saying
that.
anyone in general. Anyone that says like, "Oh, this sucks," that's just the universe mirroring you.
No, it isn't. We're going to get gentrified out too. We're going to become the victims of our own success because...
Is that what you believe?
Well, I've observed it happen over the last 30 years. I've seen it happen in the East
from
Village,
the
I've seen it
past
happen in the Lower East Side, I've
experience,
seen it happen in Williamsburg.
You believe from past experience that that's what's going to happen.
I think that's a reasonable thing to deduce. It's based on evidence and observation. Where am I going to go? Fucking Indonesia? When this is over, when I'm going to stay here and do my thing in this space because I'm really loving the area right now. I don't want to just move out of here and just move to somewhere else in New York. Go move to Coney Island, maybe Brighton Beach. I love those places.
No. You know where I see you? Staten Island.
Possibly.
I see you in Staten Island. It's like where the old New Yorkers go to retire.
I think I just want something totally
different.
No,
this is the Alamo. Either we make it or we don't make it.
Listen, you're not getting out of here until you finish that, so you're going to have to pontificate and draw at the same time. I don't know. I mean, I feel like what I'm doing here, and you're gonna see this happen over a long period of time.
I wish I brought more things if I knew what I was actually going to do.
Here, what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to paint in these windows.
But what colors do you need
that
there?
has to dry still.
Okay, but what colors do you need in there?
I need like flesh, I need like brown.
Flesh, like what color flesh? What do you mean that?
I don't know, just give me brown and some white. I'll fucking make my own shade.
I want to see at least one monster in there, okay?
A monster?
Yeah,
like... You're gonna put me fucking holding some bad bee's ass in the window.
Whatever you want to do.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I put a monster in there? That's where I live.
Because that's what we know. I want a classic L'Amour Supreme character. Like vintage OG L'Amour Supreme. It doesn't have to be only that. Because I'm trying to make something infinite and timeless here. you know, and I'm trying to collect like all the time periods into like one moment.
Okay.
You know, I'm trying to make like a city so that when the world outside, you know, changes to a degree that's beyond my liking, then I have this, which I can just keep forever.
Here on the corner of this wall, that's going to be pretty much timeless. I'm going to do a Doomhead on the corner of this because I'm going to do that on my building.
Listen, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I would like to have some OG L'Amour Supreme shit on here. If you don't want to do it, that's your business. But for me, I would like to be able to look at this decades from now. I'm going to scrape all of this off, so I wouldn't draw on that. I'm telling you, all the labels are coming off.
You can take the labels.
I'm the fucking art director. I don't want it. I don't want to. This isn't Sesame Street. We're gonna put our own sign up there. Come on, I'm taking that off. Don't waste your time. You've got a whole fucking panel here. Don't get too ambitious. I like to have something to show at the end because I know how you are. You start things and then you leave them. That means I'm gonna have to get you back here and put up with you again to get you to finish it.
That's how I know. That's how I keep coming back onto shows, bro.
You know, I invite you into my space and I ask you to do something meaningful that means something to me.
I'm not a one shot, you know.
Be happy that I'm asking for that.
You know, you can't just invite me here and then like kick me out and be like, okay, thank you.
I didn't say that.
Man, thank you, man.
Do you not understand what I'm trying to do here? You know, whatever. Do whatever the fuck you. Obviously, you're just gonna do whatever you want, so just fucking do it.
Exactly. Why we're here?
I don't know. Why are you here?
Did you hear about
Why did you come here? Why are you doing this? What do you think you're getting out of this? I'm just telling you that wall's getting buffed. Do what you will with that information.
Damn, you're like the fucking real estate developer.
Kind of.
He's like top real estate developer. Here I am trying to like keep things intact. You know?
Right. No, it's
Vendor
like
of architecture.
this is what happens when you get hired to do graffiti for a fucking real estate company. It's got to fit within the parameters. Do you want paintbrush and water and shit like that? Are you gonna hand paint shit? You want a paintbrush?
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
I would have brought my tools if you would have told me.
I told you.
You didn't tell me that.
I said
making art today.
You're always making art. What else do you think I need you?
Yeah, but that's new medium.
What else do I need you for?
The always making art.
Here's some hot pink. Here's some paintbrushes. Let me get you some water. I'm expecting nothing but fucking greatness here. Here's the water.
Nothing but greatness. Thank you, Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, I expect that of you.
I appreciate that.
I mean, I know you.
Nothing less than greatness.
I know you're capable of it. Am I expecting it? That's something different. Yeah, it's a beautiful fucking day in the neighborhood. And I know what you're gonna say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Desiring some form of control. Well, I mean, when it comes to my relationship with the city, no. City changes faster than you can.
Well, what if you started looking at yourself as a direct reflection of the city?
I mean, I'm definitely a product of this city.
What if you see the city changing, but you don't acknowledge your own changes in your own life?
Well, I've been doing that. I mean, the whole reason I'm even here now and doing this project is because I did a lot of stuff for myself. You know, going to therapy and trying to figure out, you know, what was important to me and what it is I really had to say and how did I want to say it and how did I want to, you know, incorporate my work into my lifestyle. It's like I'm a very internally driven person, you know, I can spend days and days by myself. And that's great and everything, but I'm also desiring connection with people. I want to be able to create some kind of venue where I can interact with people in a way that you know, fulfills me, and I love playing with toys. The whole concept of play has been kind of lost on a lot of adults. Like, it's one of the ways that the system kind of robs you by convincing people, not you and me because we're special artists of course, but it's like average, you know, regular people that like playing with toys is for kids and you have to give that up and then go be like a productive worker. And I think something is like profoundly lost there. I've managed to keep that going throughout my life and I'd like to create a space where I can share that with other people. I sit here and play with myself all the time and I do quite frequently. LOL.
LOL.
Wanted to open it up so I can have friends, and I've been kind of missing having a venue of my own. I mean, I spend a lot of time going out to other people's stuff, going to other people's parties and events and entering other people's worlds. Yeah, and I mean, I like doing all that stuff, but it's like I also want to have my own space where it's like it's my world and other people are in it. Also have to expect that people are going to come in here and they're going to do it their way And I gotta adapt to that. As much as I would like to control everything, I have to let people be who they are. And also, what's the point of having people come into your space if they're just going to be mindless minions and do what you say? I mean, that sounds great, but you can't have that. So if you've got a vision and you're trying to execute it, you don't want a bunch of other people trying to do it their way. You know, there's a place for being the director, and there's another time where you're going to invite someone in as a collaborator who's your equal. You can't dominate that and make them do anything they don't want to do. You got to meet them where they're at. They got to meet you where you're at, and hopefully something comes of it. I mean, we've collaborated plenty of times and made some great shit. You know, there's been other times I wanted to kill you, but not as often, you know, so this is like how I socialize. Like, I don't particularly like just hanging out in bars and talking over loud music. It's like I like doing something with people. I like having something to like work on and some sort of shared vision.
Creative workshop. What I've realized, we could take this on the road, actually.
That's the goal. That's the goal. I'm definitely working on two things here, you know, and this is like really just the early, like sort of prototypical phase of it. Creating a space not only where people want to come in and participate in it and hey, or contribute something to have this experience, but then once this sort of process and this way of doing things, expressing and interacting with the environment becomes more solidified, then we can take it anywhere in the world and take the show on the road. Like, I'm gonna milk this fucking space for all it's worth, and then when it's time to leave, I'm not just gonna go try to do it somewhere else in New York and just recreate it. It's gonna be over. And then I'm gonna fucking go to Japan and Africa and Europe and all over America, South America, and just have zillions of artist friends all over the world. And the idea being taking this energy somewhere else. I mean, I love New York. I love New York to death, but after a while, it's like the paths feel very well trodden, you know? Even a place for me, I don't know about you because you're obviously so golden and magnificent, but for me personally, it's like sometimes I do feel like, oh, you know, I feel a little boxed in here. I don't, you know, I know there's like these diehard New Yorkers, I'm never gonna leave, and I'm gonna stay here for the rest of my life. It's like, yeah, you wanna live in a fucking crappy walk-up apartment? For a long time, I was like, New York or nowhere, New York or bust, I'm never leaving. I'm a real one, there's nowhere else like New York in the world, and that's true, but you know, I started, you know, that was 20 years ago, and now I see things changing, things getting different, and also just like, sometimes I go out and I just see the fucking wildest shit happening outside, and it's like, part of me is like, wow, this is great, this city is so electric, this city is vibing, and then another part of me is like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, God, calm down, everybody. Like, I'm 70, 80 years old. Do I want to do this? I don't know. I don't know. I've kind of planned out, like, sort of what I want my creative trajectory to be over the next couple of decades.
Oh, really?
So, you know, I've outlined it. Of all the things I want to do, like, what are the things that I should do when I'm younger and when I still look good on camera and when I'm still physically able to get around and, like, I'm still active and, you know, still able to get fucked up.
Actually, I want to see you on camera when you're like fucking crypt keeper, decrepit. Like,
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I
still
think
doing it.
maybe, but at that point, I mean, probably move more to writing and stuff like that. I have like a book that I'm writing, like a science fiction book that I'm writing that I'd like to turn into a television show. And I'd like to be, you know, like a George R.R. Martin type. It's like Toy Lords of Chinatown, but like way more fantastical. Fortunately, all the people that I actually know in my life and, you know, are like good people, honest, caring, decent, relatively well-balanced people. And those people are great in real life, but they're not necessarily people that are interesting to read about. You know, you want flawed characters. You want morally complicated people. You want villains.
Tell me about my character.
I don't know. That's not the first thing on my mind is how to get you in my story. You know, I'm just thinking, I'm finding that as I'm trying to write for the first time, and I want characters that do the wrong thing, and it's like...
You always do the right thing?
Yeah, kind of. You know, I don't hurt people, I don't steal from people, I don't lie to people, I don't use and abuse people. I'm basically a decent moral person, and that's great. You know, that's why I've always fantasized about being a supervillain, because sometimes I feel pinned in by my ethics and my morals and my humility.
You're humble?
Well, we'll let the audience decide that one, but my SUCKLORD supervillain side has always been outrageously, you know, comically braggadocious. And that, in my way, is like almost like I'm bigging myself up to such a ridiculous degree that it's actually self-deprecation. You know, like not everybody gets that, but it's like if I exaggerate how megalomaniac I am, I'm making fun of myself. You know, I'm kind of like joking about how ridiculous this sounds. Like, you know, if you're a public figure and you have any sort of quote unquote shtick or a persona, it's extracted from your true self, but it's, you know, maybe exaggerated or inverted in some way. And the real trick, or the difficulties sometimes come in where you get a little confused about like where does the and where does the person begin, you know? I don't know if I've figured it out yet. Okay, so let's see what you did. All right, that's really nice. It's not anything remotely close to what I wanted, but it's good and it'll do. It's really beautiful. And it's good that we have some...
This is the new me. This is the new
all right,
artist.
I would love to see...
You know me as my old artist. No one knows me as my new artist.
Okay, so, I mean, and then again, it's just going to be, it's going to be one small detail that's going to just be part of this larger pastiche. I'm imagining all this shit's going to be covered with fucking graffiti.
Art,
I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of the SUCKLORD's bike.
Oh, shit. I need a chopper, yo.
All right, so obviously we have a long way to go, but this will do for now, and I think it's time we got out of here. Another day in SUCKLORD City. What a high artistic achievement it's been for everybody involved. All right, you ready to get out of here?
Night, everybody.
The SUCKLORD.
Here he comes in more ways than one.
The SUCKLORD.
A neighborhood guy worth giving a try.
The SUCKLORD. The SUCKLORD.